Good morning. Welcome to Morning Chops, where we chop it up and then we chop samples. I'm Majeston, and today we're going to talk about how much audio and equipment knowledge an artist should have in the recording studio environment. So if you're an artist and you don't really know where to start, and you're like, how deep should I go into learning about audio and engineering and audio equipment, I'm going to help you out today. We're going to get you on the right path. First of all, you don't need to be a master of audio engineering. What you need to know is how to communicate with your engineer and tell them what you want. Yo, engineer, can we put some more reverb on my vocal? Yo, engineer, can we make my vocal a little bit warmer? Stuff like that. Your job as an artist is your taste and your performance. And your engineer's job is knowing the equipment in the room, knowing how to run Pro Tools or whatever DAW you're using. Also, how to read the room. That's a really important job of the engineer as well. So this morning I woke up to a message on TikTok from Jordan, and he said, "Hi, my name's Jordan. I saw you were a producer, and I was just curious to know how extensive do you think an artist's knowledge should be on all the equipment in the studio? Obviously, the more the better, but I just started working at a studio, and I find it all super overwhelming. But I want to be a great artist, so any advice would be really appreciated. Thank you." It's a great question. And there's a couple different things I want to talk about within that question. So to answer the first part, how extensive do you think an artist's knowledge should go? Like I said, you need to be able to communicate with your engineer. Some things that I would recommend looking into is signal flow, gain staging, and DAW basics. So like FL Studio basics, Logic Pro basics, Ableton basics, Pro Tools basics, stuff like that. Just so you have an idea, just so you've heard somebody talk about these things. It's less about mastering it, and it's more about just knowing vocabulary so you can communicate with your engineer and get what you want and get what you're hearing in your head. Way before I was ever an engineer, I was just an artist trying to record myself in my bedroom, actually in my closet, on FL Studio with a USB mic. That was way before I knew what I was doing. So for about half a year, I just taught myself on YouTube. I taught myself everything I knew. I wasn't really doing it the right way, but I was getting closer to what I wanted and what I was hearing in my head. And then the second part of this question is pretty important. Jordan said he's just started to work at a studio, so that's something entirely different. If you're going to work at a studio, I'm assuming you're going to work as an audio engineer or, an intern. You need to start learning EQ, compression, especially signal flow, and I would highly recommend learning Pro Tools, everything about Pro Tools that you can, because that's what's used in a commercial recording studio. Artistry and engineering are two completely separate muscles. There are some artists that record themselves, but 9 times out of 10 in a professional studio environment, there's the artist and there's the engineer, and then there's the producer as well sometimes. So again, artists, your job is your taste or your ear and your performance. That's what you need to focus on. And the engineer's job is to take what you're giving them and make it happen, technically speaking. And yeah, just stay curious. And I'm really glad that Jordan reached out, because that's exactly what you need to do as an artist and you don't know what's going on. You need to go ask people things. You need to get on YouTube and learn. So I hope that answered some questions. If you have more questions, please let me know, and we'll continue to address things and talk about things and, navigate all this together. So I think it's time to make some music now. All right, guys, we have the MPC sample pulled up. We're gonna run it through this chroma console, and I'm just gonna use the sweeten and the squash effects on here, just a tiny bit, barely any at all, just to give it a little bit of flavor. And let's find some samples first. That's cool. Maybe that. There we go. Couple hi-hats, big open hats. And then I like to adjust the decay time. And then I also want to add my hi-hats to a mute group. That. Okay, so let's get into this. Also, I like to put a filter on these. And put a little high pass filter on here. Same thing here. Just taking out some of that low end so we can put some bass in there. I'm gonna grab a couple so we can pick and choose which one we want. And then let's go down to like 92 BPM today. cool. That one's kind of cool. So let's go ahead and do this.